Well, just because it's winter doesn't mean you can't have some flowers in your life. Well, head on down to the Denver Botanic Gardens. The Orchid Showcase is going on right now, and it is beautiful. Erin Bird, the Associate Director of Communications, was kind enough to stop by the show. Every time we have beautiful flowers, I know Erin is in the studio. How are you, Erin? Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Well, tell us about this Orchid Showcase. You can go see some. You can also buy some. What's it like?
The Orchid Showcase is on view at our York Street location through February 20th, and it's in our Orangery and Marnie's Pavilion, and we have hundreds of colorful, beautiful orchid blooms to take a look at. And there are select Saturdays in January and February that Fantasy Orchids will be on site selling orchids. You can take one home and give it a try yourself.
I love this. So you can leave home with some of that. And here's the thing, orchids are actually really interesting. We were reading some of the facts that were on the screen as we went to break, but you're saying there's all types of orchids, not just the more common ones that we see at the store.
Exactly, yeah. So this is a moth orchid. It's a common name, and that's the type that a lot of people start out with that you do find at flower shops or big box stores. But there are so many different varieties. The ones on the table here are also orchids, even though by looking at it, you probably wouldn't guess that at all. So
I would never guess, at least this one, that it's orchids. That's amazing. How many different orchids can we see over at the Botanic Gardens?
Well, we have hundreds of varieties in our orchid collection that are in the greenhouses, and you can take a peek through the windows when you're checking out the display. But in the Orchid Showcase, I'm not sure the exact number, but there's a lot of
there's a lot of different ones. You know, I've always heard that orchids are very hard to take care of. Is that the case or not so much?
They do have a bad rap kind of for being persnickety plants, and that is the case for some of the more unique varieties, cultivars, but the types that most people start out with, like the moth orchid, are pretty easy. If you
These are pretty easy, and they go for a while. They'll last for quite some time. But any tips for those who want to maybe move on to other types of orchids?
Sure. So the general rule of thumb is that they like low light and warm temperatures. So, you know, don't have them in a window or near a cold, drafty place in the winter. And they do like continual moisture in their pot. So that doesn't mean like drowning it, so it's soggy and rots the roots, but you don't want it to dry out.
Okay, so yeah, it does sound like you just have to have the right amounts and you're good to go. Okay, this is exciting, everyone. There's an Orchid Showcase photo contest going on. I want to hear about this. How can people enter? What's the deal?
Sure. So we have done the Orchid Showcase photo contest for several years. It's really popular. Mike's Camera is the sponsor, so their expert photographers select the winners, and then they donate prizes. There's gift cards to Mike's Camera, and the 3 top winners also get to take home an orchid plant that was in the display.
Oh, awesome. And do you have a bunch of entries? I'm sure you get a lot of talented artists out there.
We have hundreds of entries every year, so you can enter up to 3 photos on Instagram or Facebook, and there's details on our website and our social media for how to do that and what hashtags to use, and then we'll select the winner in the end of February.
I love it. Okay, well, there you go. That's something you want to do. Now, one of the things I want to highlight is winter, because this is actually not a bad time to go over to explore the gardens. But what else do you guys have going on for people maybe wanting to explore a little bit during the cold months?
Of course, yes. So even the outdoor spaces are pretty in the winter. Of course, they're not flowering or fruiting, but there's a lot of beauty to be found in the winter garden scenes of the dormant plants, and just the sculptural elements of the trees and shrubs kind of take center stage. And then, of course, we do have the indoor spaces, the tropical conservatories. You can get kind of a warm, lush stroll, especially if it's cold outside. We have our art exhibitions, education programs. So there really is a lot still happening all times of the year.
Yeah, do you still recommend we get tickets in advance?
Yes, we do still ask, even for general admission, that you purchase your tickets online in advance, and then you can select the time that you want to show up, and then it's just easy breezy when you walk up.
Well, we'll see you there very soon. Erin, thank you so much for coming in today. Okay, the Orchid Showcase is going on until February the 20th at the Denver Botanic Gardens at the York Street location. They have orchid plants for sale on select Saturdays. You can get your tickets in advance at botanicgardens.org.